Kilted Balls! Woo! Nice job! Hey everyone! Welcome back to another episode of the Kilted Balls podcast. So glad you came to join us. It feels like forever. It feels like forever.
It does.
I don't know why. We recorded last Tuesday, right? I don't understand, people. I don't understand how time disappears so quickly. I think because we were experiencing life, and so it feels like a lot longer in between. I think when you're not doing anything, then I don't know. But we're busy people, right? So
Yeah, especially this weekend.
oh my goodness.
Like, this was a wrestling weekend, so I volunteered for 15 hours again.
Ooh.
I have fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's like fantastic fun.
Let me take that back. Not all 15 hours is work. Like, there's a lot of hanging out. I get to, obviously the show would go, it's a few hours for the show, but I'm there for 15 hours.
Yeah, I did a race, worked the race. It was fun.
Okay. Same idea.
But not as exciting as like working a wrestling thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this week, today was not bad. One of my meetings I thought I had a meeting every night this week. Today's meeting I thought was really weird because normally that meeting's on a Monday. I triple checked it. I think I even emailed the guy at one point and said, hey, I'm going to see you at this meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And today I'm in another meeting. I'm talking. They're like, yeah, we were surprised we didn't see you last night. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, it wasn't last night. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, it's on my calendar for tonight. And I checked it. And they're like, yeah, it's always on Mondays. And I'm like, look at the website. And then I'm like, those are last year's dates on your website.
Perfect.
I'm like, they're like, oops. And I'm like, because last year, May 12th, was a Monday. So I'm like, son of a gun. Not that I could have gone yesterday. I had a meeting last night. Got a meeting tomorrow. Got a meeting the next night. So and then we're going to move one of our kids to Pennsylvania. So at least I am. Amy has a conference, the NRA.
Oh, I forgot. The internship in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, her internship's in Pennsylvania, and she didn't want to go out there. She said she would go by herself, but she'd be like, it'd be way cooler. So Kale and I are going to join her on her trip. I don't know if I've ever been to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, so I think that'll be fun.
Have.
Have you really?
I was there. I had a show there once.
Oh, you used to live on the East Coast.
There was the worst snowstorm ever. It was terrible. And no one was there. But that's all right.
So, we started to talk before this episode.
Which is rare.
Like, it was really because, like, shit was going down at both houses. And so we're like, man. And I'm like, wait, this has to be an episode conversation. So, there's so much here that I'm so excited about. But a lot of our listeners, this is going to resonate with because they're our generation, right? Yeah. And people make all sorts of socials about how Gen X is a little bit different, which we've always been told we were different. A lot of times growing up in a bad way, like, oh, Gen X is like the laziest generation. Who knew? We're like the hardest working generation, and all the rest, you slobs are the weak ones. Like, look at our kids, baby. Woo! I told my daughter got like promoted over and over, like when she was like in college, and she's like, I don't understand. Like, she's talking to people. She's like, why do you keep promoting me? And they're like, you keep showing up.
Yeah.
I'm like, she's like, how is that the bar? They're like, that's the bar. I'm like, that was not the hurdles when we were going to college, right? We had people getting fired all the time. I'm like, man, things are different. But, like, they're conquering the world right now because they just have, like, the bare, like, they don't have the bare minimum, right? But, like, they don't understand how people don't work all the time. I'm like, we might have ruined you to think that, like, that's an okay lifestyle, which maybe it is. I don't know. It works for us. So, when you have unlimited energy. But our generation is weird, and I was thinking about this recently, and it just came up in our conversation. So, for listeners who don't know, Kilted has seen it. I have a 2-story barn on my property, right? big, huge barn for a city. Like, it's a pretty damn big barn. And it's nice, it's fun. It has a big open door on the second floor, like you would expect a barn. And kind of what I want to put into context is growing up, Kilted had been to my house a few times, and we had multiple barns. We had a lot of barns. We were a big farm, multiple barns. But the one that I would play in probably the most was a 3-story barn with doors on each level for sure. And we spent a lot of time for sure in one of those barns, and the doors, like, you know, they're flush with the floor. You could like walk right out and fall. There's no like barriers. There's nothing to protect you, right? And 3 or 4 stories up in that barn, like there were beams, and like I would walk along those beams. Like I wouldn't think anything of it. And my brothers taught me that. Like they'd be up there walking. I'm like, this is scary. And they're like, you walk across 1 foot all the time when you're walking. Why would this be scary just because you're 40 feet off the ground? And I'd be like, you're right, I don't know. And we'd be running across these beams. In my barn, if I open the door, I have multiple slats built in so you won't accidentally fall out. And I don't let, like, my boy, like, most of the time within 2 or 3 feet of that door. Like, we go upstairs, I'm like, hey, kind of stay away from that door. And he'll be, like, on there looking. I'll be like, maybe you shouldn't be up on that door. But like
that we care more about our kids than our parents cared about us.
Well, and like you and I were talking about, your kids were climbing on stuff, and you're like, don't climb on shit. Don't climb on shit. They keep climbing on shit because that's what kids do, right? I did too. And it's because we care about their safety. And I'm like thinking back, we had a pine tree out back, like back where our deck was in our pool. You remember that? And what was that? 50 feet up? Maybe? Do you remember?
It was a big pine tree.
It was a big ass pine tree. I used to spend my days when I was 8 to 10, 12 years old in the top of that pine tree. Like I would make it wave. I would hang on it and make the whole thing wave. Like my mom would come out and be like, what are you doing? And I'm like, climbing the tree. She'd be like, okay. And she'd go back inside. Like that's where our dining room and kitchen was. And my brothers all climbed trees with me. They were all older than me. And again, I remember one time my brother was just like walking across this tree branch between 2 trees. And we were taller than the barn that was next to us. And I remember, again, he was like, it's not that hard. Just get up and walk. Just walk normal and it's not scary. And I'm like, okay. And so I'm walking along this tree branch, like 15 feet across, just like la, 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 la. I'm pretty sure if one of my kids did that right now, I would have a panic attack. Right? Like, so what is different about our parents and our generation where we're just like, literally they didn't care. Like they cared about me, right? They still do, but they were like, yeah, that's what they should be doing. They should be climbing those trees and be 50 feet off the ground. Like they would call out to me. They'd be like, don't get hurt. And I'd be like, okay. Yeah. They'd be like, be careful. I'd be like, all right. And that was the extent.
Well, it's not even because there's the helicopter parent term, and it's not even that.
No.
But it's like I think about when I was their age, like just riding my bike. Like I would ride to Aaron's house.
Yes.
Which I'd go out on Nicholson and down Converse and get, around or even like we would go to the gravel pit before I moved out on Stowe. So that's a mile to the next road and then back to the pit. But like, I wouldn't want my kids even just riding around here, a half a mile down.
Mm-hmm. I used to get yelled at by teachers because I would have my kids walk from like my school to the school next door. And they were like 3rd, 4th grade. I could see the other school. Like they walked through the woods, but you could see the school. And they'd be like, your kids are walking there? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, by themselves? I'm like, I can see the school. Like they're at school. They never leave school property. They walk from one school to the other. They're like, oh no, we would never let our kids walk through those woods like that. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Like, I make Cal walk home right now. Like, he sometimes doesn't like it. And I meet him most of the time. But, like, last year as a second grader, there'd be days where I'd be, like, sitting here, and all of a sudden he'd come walking up, and I'd be like, oh, you're home. And he's like, yeah, I just walked home. And he gets scared sometimes, but that's half mile away, and he just walks it through the neighborhood. And a lot of people are like, that's weird. And I'm like, that's not weird. In our neighborhood, it's safe, and it's all nice. But, yeah, other people are like, oh, no.
I think it goes, part of it too is like the old Jim Gaffigan bit. I don't know if you ever heard it, where he talks about having all the pictures on the computers. And he's like, I've got more pictures of my children than my parents ever looked at me.
Right?
So there could be that. You just have a lot more interaction with our kids than what our parents had.
That is probably true. We probably did, but it is a weird thing, right? Because like we're always worried about our kiddos, and our parents worried, but it was a different level of worry, right? Like I'll tell my kiddos, I'll be like before I was in like high school, right? I go, there were days where I would leave in the morning. And I would be gone, and then at night I would come back, and they're like, "What were you doing?" And I'm like so many different things. I'm like
playing.
I would just be like out walking, and they're like, "You just like walked." I'm like, there was one time I had my gun, and I just went out the back, and I ended up like 2 roads over, and took the roads back at night because it was dark. They're like, whose property were you on? I'm like, I don't know. I was like 12. I was just walking, like.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that property lines were a thing. I'm sure I was on lots of people's property.
Yeah.
Like I was gone literally all day. I'm like, I'd go down to the pond and swim. You remember my pond? We fished at all the time. I would just go down and swim. They'd be like, where have you been? I'm like, I've been down swimming. They're like, okay. Like,
yeah.
They assumed I wasn't going to die, I guess.
I know. What does that say about us? Maybe we need to let go a little bit more.
Yeah, but like my kiddos so far have turned out okay.
Yes.
So I think it's probably a balancing act. But I do think that a lot. Like if my kiddo was on a ladder, I'd probably be a little nervous. And my parents would have me like up on a roof and not even like think twice. Like I lived on my roof, like helping people patch stuff, and it was never like think about baling hay. How high those wagons were, and they put me on the top to stack the hay because I was the littlest.
Yeah.
And if I fell, which I did, they were like, "Oh, well, get up." Like,
yeah. Rub some dirt in it.
Man.
The wagon didn't hit you, so you're okay.
The wagon didn't run over you. That was always their fear. Like, stay away from the front, because if the wagon runs over you, you're screwed. They're like, they didn't roll over you. Get up. Right? Literally, that was not like a thing. So.
That's funny.
And our parents, yours and mine, might have been different, right? Like.
Yes, we had different parents.
Like mine had.
Even our parents were different generations from each other.
Yes. But I think we had other people. Like, I think our good friend Matt Sharman's parents, like, I think they were, like, always worried about what their kids were doing. They didn't necessarily always stop them, but they were, I think, always worried, right?
So they're trendsetters.
Yeah, I'm like, man, they really worry about this. Mm-hmm. Like, I never even understood it. Like, people now look at me weird when I'm like, Cal, like, I saw him out the other day. He's outside, like, with an axe, like, hitting shit and swinging an axe. We were like, you gave him an axe? I'm like, I was splitting wood by then. Not very well, but I'm like, why shouldn't he have an axe? Like, well, what if he hits himself? I'm like, if my kid is dumb enough to hit himself with an axe, I've got whole other sets of issues. Whole other sets. I go, I'm worried about him hitting a human with the axe. Not hitting that's what my parents worried about. They didn't care about me hitting myself. They were worried I was going to take out my sister or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want to hit someone else.
Yeah.
In trouble.
Like, don't hit the dog. Don't hit your sister. Mm-hmm. What about the chickens? You can kill the shit out of chickens. Just make sure you pluck them and cook them. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Nobody cares about that. But the dogs and sisters were off limits. You couldn't hurt them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's definitely different generationally. Right? Mm-hmm. Like, all the time. So I don't know what
Yeah.
that is, right? But you do. You get like super worried about your kiddos. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure our parents were worried. My mom told me once, I don't know, maybe 5, 10 years ago, we were all sitting talking, and she was like, "Oh, well, you were like an angel. Like, you never did anything wrong." And all my brothers and sisters are like, "What?" And she's like, "Well, he was always good. He was always reading his books. He was always just playing nicely outside." They're like, "You have no idea what he was doing outside." And she's like, "Well, I'm sure it was fine." And they're like, "No." They're like, "It wasn't fine. Like, if stuff was going wrong, it was probably him." And she's like,
That's hilarious.
"I know." And she
They
was
ratted
like,
you out?
"Yeah, well," and she's like, "No, no, no." And then she's like, "Did you ever do anything bad?" I'm like, "I don't think so." And I'm like, I go, there was like that time I filled my sister's cigarettes with sparklers that I had like shaved. She's like,
Hmm.
"That's not very nice." I'm like, "I didn't think it was appropriate that she smoked." So
Yeah.
scared the shit out of her when she went to get on a plane. She called. She was not happy.
Oh, really? That's hilarious.
She was at the airport and lit up that
You can
cigarette.
smoke on a plane. That's when you can smoke on a
Mhm.
plane.
And imagine if it was full of sparklers that I had taken it out and then repacked with a good mixture. So
Yeah.
yeah, that got me in trouble. Yeah,
That's awesome.
and they would talk about like me like beating up my older brothers and sisters. I'm like, shit just happened.
Yeah.
So,
That's hilarious.
but so maybe they just weren't.
So, yeah.
But in my parents' defense, there was 9 of us, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I was one of the youngest. And if they lose me, they had others that were already off and being successful and good, and 1 out of 9 ain't bad. So
Yeah. Well, because even, I mean, think about it. Like, if you're talking about that 9, 10, 11 era, there was what? Still, were there 6 of you in the house?
oh yeah, yeah, I think so. Like, and that's
So,
crazy, right?
That's what I would imagine. There's a little bit of a gap between you and your brother, but between, like, the rest of them,
Oh yeah, it was all
above
boom, boom,
that, it's
boom.
all close. Yeah.
Yes. Well, and they had other stuff to worry about than me, right? Like if I'm entertaining myself, they're happy, right? Like they're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
good. He's not causing mischief here. He's not destroying the house. Like that's all good." So
Yeah.
I think they
Yeah.
thought
We have different worries.
we have different worries. Like you said, we're always around our kids. We're only worried about 2. Like that's what you got to worry about right now is 2 kids.
Yeah.
So each of them gets 50% of your attention. Maybe Morgie gets 60 or 70%, right? But for me growing up, they're worried about all those other kiddos.
Hmm.
For you, they're for sure worried about Shane and Angel more than they're worried about you.
Well, I was a lot older by then, but yeah, Shane helped with that.
They're like, you just go do whatever you're doing. You, we gotta like watch.
Although within what's really crazy, what Morgan's been doing the Taekwondo 2 months now.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy, even the differences that we're seeing at home, which is pretty amazing. It's super awesome.
Keeping
Like, just a
active
way
kids
for them to
active is
focus.
important.
Yeah, we're really noticing that. It's been amazing.
Like when we've had things at school where they're like, "Wow, your kiddo is like he's doing so much better." We're like, "Well, it's nice weather." They're like, "Right? Doesn't that make him behave worse?" We're like, "No, we walk to school every day." Like,
Yeah.
it's not like 6 feet of snow. He's walking to school. He's getting all that energy out. I go, when you were getting him during the winter, he hasn't had a chance to get his energy out. So,
Yeah, wakes up and goes straight to school.
right? You're getting the full blown Monty right there. So,
Hmm. That's awesome.
So I guess the big thing for our listeners to take out of this is, listeners, we want to know, was it this way for you guys? I feel like a lot of our listeners we got a good chunk of Gen Xers, and we got a few millennials and stuff, but like, how do you notice it differently? Like, did your parents like really like parent you and were always worried about what you were doing, or were they like, well, go have fun, don't die? So
Yeah.
I'm curious as to people's experiences.
Hmm.
And maybe it's different because we were living in the country, right? Like, I was driving tractors by like 11 and 12.
Hmm. Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think part of it is just like I can remember like when latchkey kids became a big thing.
Oh,
Like it
yeah.
wasn't like the generation before us, the one parent was always home. They didn't require both parents working. But
Right.
now, I mean, there are kids where that I imagine that's really normal, where when we were younger it wasn't as normal, and it's becoming more and more normal. But like, for my kids, it's like Morgan doesn't understand because for my job is totally different than anything else. He's just like, you're always home.
Yeah.
Like Jericho doesn't do anything except package some boxes.
Like you just sit around all day.
So for them, they're having that experience where Gina or myself or both of us are always around. Besides when they're in school.
Yeah, which also means then you get into the things where you're like worried about them all the time because you're watching them.
Hmm.
And that's what we talked about. Like, my parents said, brush it off. Today, we would take those kiddos to the doctor, right? We'd be like, hey, we're heading to urgent care.
Yeah, we just need to make sure it's not broken or whatever.
Yeah. Whereas back then, like, there were urgent cares on every corner where we lived. Like, it better be something serious. You driving yourself over to urgent care.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I broke both arms and it took me 6 months to get in, doctor. Well, I guess I was in my 20s when I did that.
No, but that
Yeah.
my daughters still yell at me because I had one of my girls when she was little. She broke her arm doing a cartwheel. She slipped at like Christmas. I was like, she's fine. It dislocated. She's good. And like 3 days later, we finally took her in, and they're like, that's broken. Why didn't you bring her in? And we're like, oops.
I was just thinking about that because the kids were doing cartwheels recently, and I was
Yeah.
like, I hope no one slips.
Oh, no one slips. But like we would have never told our kids, hey, don't do that. Like I mean, like when we had our parents wouldn't have yelled at us to not do that.
To not do it at all.
Right. They would have just been like, well, be careful. Well, you broke your arm. Guess we'll take it in, get it splinted, maybe tomorrow or next week.
Yep. Although we've been trying to set up a jump. We made another one this year, so for the bicycles.
My wife and I talk about
Cool as our
that.
jumps when we were little.
Like our little guy, he doesn't ride his bike very often. And we're like, you couldn't get us off our bikes. I'm like, I had jumps set up all over. And my parents didn't know. Like I was in the back in the farm, like jumping huge big things, coming off of barns and shit. Like I'm like, if I can come out of that barn hayloft, like that'd be amazing.
Yeah. And not destroy your bike.
And not destroy my bike or me. But I never worried about me. Like I literally,
Yeah.
that was never a thought. Like, oh, I'm worried I might get hurt. Like literally never entered our. We thought, I hope I don't break my bike because I'm gonna have to rebuild it.
Well, there was always the you could smash yourself and hurt yourself really bad if you like missed a jump and your feet slipped off your pedals or something. Like,
But it was never the worry. Like it happened and you're like, oh, that hurt. But you never worried about it. Like it was just craziness. Well, anyway, listeners, you got to fill us in. We got to know if this is just
yes, we'd love to
us.
hear.
I want to know if this is us being weird or if you were feral kids growing up too. How are you as a parent? Do you let your kids kind of go crazy or are you more like hands-on? I'm feeling like I'm more hands-on and my parents let me be feral. So,
Yeah.
within reason. So, let us know. I'm curious. Shoot us a tweet, shoot us a comment. Anything further to add?
No, awesome episode, and I'm glad we switched over when we did, because like you said, we usually don't talk beforehand. We just get on, but some things were going on, so we were jibber jabbering, and you're like, "No, we need to start this."
This needs to be on the episode. All
I was
right.
ranting a little bit.
For shizzle. All right. Well, listeners, you have a great week. Hopefully you're sticking to our minis and hearing about our trading escapades. But otherwise, this is Ballbuster signing off.
Kill the Dragon Jerry, love you all.